So today we want to talk about the future of HR. We understand, all of us, that we are in this pandemic, and the pandemic has caused a lot of shifts, both in business, social life, even spiritual life, religion. So we want to discuss the future of HR. I want to discuss what we think, I call these projections of HR post-COVID, even during this COVID-19. The workplace we are living in is changed into a workplace of networking, a modern hybrid workplace. So in other words, organizations has moved into the normal setup of working in offices, normal setup of going to work at 8 o'clock and finishing at maybe 5 o'clock. There is a distortion anyway. Thanks for Corona in disguise, because it has managed to accelerate the fourth revolution of technology. In fact, it has managed to change the status quo of what used to take place and what used to be done in offices. I'm seeing many organizations moving into a different setup, moving into a different model, which I call the hybrid workplace model, where we do not require employees always at offices. Those who can work at home, they can work at home. Those who can have flexible time arrangements to work, they can do that. At the end of the day, it's not about where you are working, it's not about your place of work, but it's about the results that you achieve at the end of the day. So I'm seeing many organizations moving into hybrid workplace model. Even in Zimbabwe, I've seen PwC have managed to change. Cassava SmartTech, Econet has managed also to change. I've heard that most of their employees, they are working from home. But get me well, not all industries allows these hybrid workplace models. It depends with the nature of the job you are doing. Also depends in which sector are you, in which industry are you. COVID-19 have brought true definitions of what critical skills means. It has separated the critical skills and the critical roles. Previously, we used to think that those who are critical are only those who are maybe at strategic level in organizational structures or in organizations. But through this COVID-19, I've realized that there are some people that might not be in the organizational structure per se, or on top of the structures per se, but they are critical. So this COVID-19 is brought about the two critical skills in organization. Number one, the critical skills that are critical in terms of strategy formulation, development, and implementation. Then number two, the critical skills that are important in terms of productivity, those that we can't do without, especially in terms of crisis like this. For example, we've got nurses, we've got doctors, we've got other essential services, as said. So the COVID-19 has brought about these definitions for us to know exactly who is critical at work. I'm seeing that there will be, in the near future, there will be some changes on the way we manage our performance. You know, in the old, as HR practitioners, we manage performance of those whom we are with in the same setup, in the same organization, but because of the changes or the distortion that was brought about by the COVID-19, what it means is that the way we manage performance will be different from the way we used to manage performance when we have the same setup, when we have employees at one place. Now we have got spaced employees. Some are working from home, some they are at the normal workplaces, and some they are remote. You know, nowadays you can employ someone in South Africa to work in India, or to work in Zimbabwe or Zambia. So it doesn't matter, depending what you do. We need to have new methods of managing performance, especially managing performance in a spaced environment, managing performance for remote employees. How do we manage performance so that we make sure that we get maximum productivity? That's the other key issue that I presuppose that practitioners, HR practitioners need to start thinking of how do we manage performance for virtual employees. Someone is working, maybe is in Masvingo, Mutare, Bulawayo, and we've got 2 people at the office. How do we manage such performance? Those who come up with model, the BSc scorecard, yes, it's fine. But I think it's high time we're also supposed to have other models, because there is a shift that has happened. Believe me, it's now 3 years now with this pandemic, and obviously we can't use the old methods which we used to manage performance currently. There is also need to change on the way we manage performance. So it's something that we need to ponder about and come up with strategies as organization. Then the other point that I'm seeing here, previously, yes, of course, wellness issues that has been there for long, but I see that with this COVID-19 is becoming a new norm, because no employee wants to work for an organization that doesn't cater or that doesn't look after its wellness. So wellness issues that are becoming a new norm in the organization. Yes, we talk about financial issues, but health matters a lot. That's why you see most of the organizations, they've managed to resort to remote working, where they set up an office, where they also set up everything for employees to work from home. So I believe post-COVID, issues to do with wellness will be the new norm. I feel and I think that all these changes I'm talking about, we cannot talk of a transition when we don't talk of a culture change. And as an HR practitioner, yes, I believe it is the role of HR to propel or to drive that culture change. Yes, people used to do this way, but there is a bridge to say that we have changed from what we used to do. There is a new norm, and the new norm, we don't want to continue saying that it's a new norm. The new norm is now, because it's now 3 years. So we should change how we do. We should change our organizational structures. We should change our policies, and that is in the hands of human resources managers. We should change also policies. Nowadays we are talking of vaccines and everything, but very few has managed to come up with workplace vaccination policies. But I think it's critical. It's high time we have to also adjust and think. We move from the old way of managing. We move from the old way of working, of what we used to do, and also adjust with the current norm. COVID-19 has brought about a lot of changes, and we also need to adjust. If you don't adjust, some speaker says, if you fail to change, you will be changed yourself. So it's high time we fly, we sink, or we swim. Most companies, they were lagging in terms of their information and technology infrastructure. We have got different groups of people who are at organizations. We've got different generations to say. We've got Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z. We've got the millennials, we've got the baby boomers, we've got the old age, those who are near to retirement. Then we've got those who are just coming in, the graduate trainees, those who are the middles, the millennials. So all these different groups, how they absorb or how they took advantage of IT was different. But now it's high time as organization we have to consolidate and embrace information and technology at our organization, because it has proved that this is the only way we can work well, especially in terms of crisis like this. And not only in terms of crisis has brought in a new change, and the change is about technology. As organizations, we should come up with proper IT infrastructure that allows remote working, proper IT infrastructure that allows virtual communication, proper infrastructure that allows virtual meetings. Last year but one, to me, I call it the Zooming year, because everyone was on Zoom. We were on Zoom doing meetings, and it proved to be successful. So it's high time as organizations that we start coming up with such infrastructure so that they are here to remain. Not only we use them because there is a crisis, but we use them now and forever because it's a digitalization era. We are in the fourth industrial revolution in terms of everything. There is this new generation I want to talk about that we need to cater for as organizations. That is the Generation Z and the millennials. These are the generations I call the zillennials. The generations that knows about technology more than any other generation. These are in their late 20s, 18, 20s, 23, 24, 25. These people, they can generate money over Facebook. They can generate money over WhatsApp. These people, they can use 4 or 5 gadgets at one place. So as organizations, we have to accept those generations and utilize them. We use them to our advantages. There is a penetration of new agile leaders in organization where the old horses, yes, we need them for advisory, but the old horses are being phased away, where we see the new leaders who are agile, the new leaders who are technologically savvy, getting through the top positions, because no organization needs itself to be lagging in terms of agility, especially in this time where we are faced with the pandemic. From 2019, when the COVID-19 started up to now, most of the people maybe have been working from home, and there has been some changes in terms of how they work, in terms of their culture, in terms of how they communicate. So I also feel that post-COVID-19, even now, some organizations have started to prepare their employees. There is need for reskilling employees that they are fully fledged with the current status that is there. Employees need to be reoriented. They need to be retrained so that they have new skills that can match up with the current status that is there. So we can train people in terms of digitalization. You can train your employees in terms of communication. There are a lot of trainings that can be done. And believe me, in the near future, we are going to see very few in-house trainings, but we are going to see more of virtual trainings, where someone who is in Zimbabwe can conduct a training in Dubai or India or South Africa. It doesn't matter that you are there in person, but you can also conduct trainings wherever you are. So it's a new thing that we need to accept as organization, that this is the world we are living in, the world of digitalization, the world of agility. Then the other thing also I would like to talk about is about flexible working arrangements. To some, they call it flex times. Taking, for example, in Zimbabwe, where people are working maybe from 8 to 3 o'clock, and some they are working from home. I believe we have to change our setup in terms of how we make our employees work. How do we change our setup? By using flexible working arrangements, where one comes to work when they are needed. When they are not needed, they can even do what they are doing, maybe working from home or do other things. In some countries, if you look at some European countries, one can work for 2 or 3 jobs. Why? Because these flexible working arrangements have been there. So it's high time in Southern Africa, it's high time in Zimbabwe, we also borrow these issues of working flexibly as long as we are producing results. I value production more than the workplace. I value production more than the time you spend. So one can spend 5 hours doing nothing, and one can just spend 30 minutes and produce results. So to me, results matters more than actions. We now need to strike a balance between the introduction of machinery, the introduction of technology, information technology, or artificial intelligence, as well as the workers themselves. Yes, some jobs may be replaced, but I don't think that not all of them will be replaced. Why? Because there are some things that can be done by a machine that cannot be done by a human being. So yes, machines, we are in the digitalization era, is going to relieve us in terms of other responsibilities, but there are responsibilities that need a human effort. For example, a laptop or a machine or a system cannot think on your behalf. the thinking aspect will remain with the human. So in terms of human resource aspects, that's where the actual definition of the human will be included, because thinking will not be done by a machine. Analysis will not be done by a machine. Innovation will not be done by a machine. So as far as we are in the digital era, there are some roles that will remain with the HR practitioners. In short, I'm also seeing that we will need a new set of skills, especially in this digital era. For example, we need strategy skills, we need thinking skills, we need decision-making skills, because machines or artificial intelligence is only going to give you results. Then you use those results to make analysis, we use the results to make strategies. So we need a set of leaders, we need a set of HR practitioners that have got that set of skill. We are going to see a change in everything. There is going to be a culture change in organization. There's going to be a change in terms of how we used to do our things. And the only one who will drive all these are the HR, human resource managers. So it's high time as human resource managers we move away from the cut and paste approach. We move away from the old model of doing things. We move away from the model of reading the Armstrong books and so on, but see what fits in to us and implement that which fits into us. Gone are the days when we used to be bookish. We now need people who sees the issues at work at hand and come up with strategies that fits in to those issues. As I said earlier, there are changes that has happened, and these changes has affected the workplace, it has affected the system, it has affected the structures in which how we used to do our things. Yes, the job market is going to be affected. How? Those who are in the recruitment industry, you agree with me that it's no longer a hindrance to some roles for someone to work in Asia while he is in Africa, or someone in Asia to work in Africa while he is in Asia. So there is going to be a cross-pollination of skills, regional cross-pollination of skills. So yes, this is going to affect us, especially those who doesn't have the appropriate skill set that can allow them to move regionally or to get jobs regionally. But obviously, it doesn't apply to all. It will apply to those that can be in a capacity to work virtually, those that can be able to do their work remotely. Some of the companies, they are very well prepared, especially the private sector to say. I've mentioned PwC, I've mentioned Cassava, I've mentioned Econet, I've mentioned Deloitte. There are many companies, especially on the private sector, that are embracing these new changes, that are embracing technology. But also we see that there are also some private sector that are still lagging, especially family-owned businesses, because they were their structure of doing their things. And the public sector, they are always lagging in terms of everything. But I feel and I think that during the first lockdown was supposed to give us a lesson and come up with recommendations and solution. The second lockdown, for me, it was supposed to be a pre-implementation of the solutions of the first lockdown. Then right now, when it comes to the third lockdown, we're supposed to embrace what we have solutions from the second lockdown. But now, many organizations during the first lockdown, they were on Zoom, they were doing everything. They tried by all means. During the second lockdown, they relaxed. During the third lockdown, maybe last year from August, September, October, November, December, they have relaxed. Some have started to do team building face-to-face. Some have started to do board meetings face-to-face, meaning there is a resistance to change. There is a resistance from many organizations. But I feel that when crisis comes, crisis should teach us a lesson. And when crisis ends, we should not revert back to what we used to do, but move forward to come up with strategies. Yes, there are some organizations that are very well prepared, and there are some that are still lagging. They are actually worse than they were during the first lockdown. That's why I've put a point that we are going to see new leaders in senior positions. It's high time we have to embrace new technology. Either we embrace and evolve, or we become extinguished as organizations.